The sun. That radiant ball of plasma in the sky that accounts for 99.9% of all the mass in the solar system and makes life on Earth possible as we know it. It's an incomprehensibly huge fusion reactor that keeps all the other planets in line through invisible, immense influence alone. What could possibly be more powerful than the sun? Well, what about 1 trillion lions?
Is this another meme episode?
LOL. Aria, OMG. Yes.
Now entering the facility.
What up, fellow kids? It's your hair stand Kyle Hill back at it again with another fresh AF video. Hey, we kids, we sure do love memes, don't we? Well, I mean, I don't like that one, but I love memes and I love science. And frequently they collide, like when too many people start thinking about slapping a chicken too hard and too fast or nuking a pizza. Today, we're gonna evaluate yet another one of these collisions. Who would win? 1 trillion furry boys or the sun? You better believe I'm going to be taking this far too seriously. You're looking at the guy who scienced Thanos' butt. So why don't we just get right into it? How much lion is 1 trillion lions? Well, the average weight for an African male lion is 420 pounds. Ooh, nice. So 1 trillion of this weight is roughly 200 trillion kilograms. This is more than twice the weight of all life on Earth combined, and this number of lions is roughly 50 million times more than the current world population of lions. So where are we gonna get all of these lions for this fight? I mean, we could use my cloning lab, but I don't go in there anymore. There's something really sus going on behind that door. Is anyone still playing Among Us? I don't care. Memes. If 1 trillion lions are going to fight the sun, they're going to have to get into space, and that's going to cost a lot of money. Despite the great strides companies like SpaceX have made in terms of reducing the cost of getting something to space per kilogram, based on the lion's mass alone, this effort is going to cost something like $500 quadrillion, which is 6,000 times all the money in the world. The entire planet would have to really want to manifest this meme, and like our lion population issue, I'm not really sure where we're gonna get all this money. I could call Jeffy B, but he doesn't return my calls anymore after I beat him to the whole drone thing. So, to space!
Okay, so we spent all the money in the world shooting 1 trillion cloned lions up into space. Pretty cool. But 15 to 30 seconds later, they're all going to be unconscious, and about 90 seconds after that, none of them will be able to be revived. I know that because of experiments we used to do on dogs and chimps and vacuum chambers and what happened to their butt. You know, we don't have to talk about it. 200 trillion kilograms of slowly freezing dead cat meat will act on itself gravitationally. But because this amount of cat mass isn't all that much compared to a planet like Earth, it's only going to pull itself into a very loosely bound sphere, depending on wherever the center of gravity ends up being, with a minimum radius of 3.5 kilometers, assuming that all of the cats are basically just water smooshed together as close as they can get, which is pretty gross. As a comparison for size, this cat planet will be about the same size as the very famous Comet 67P, which the Rosetta mission landed on, and it would have a surface gravity so small that if you were stood on the surface of this dead cat planet, a simple jump would achieve escape velocity and you would leave the cat planet's influence never to return. You know, like the popularity of Snapchat. Am I right, teens? Oh! Now it's time to tackle the versus part of this meme, but again, there's a problem. In this frame of reference, it looks like Earth is stationary, but from the sun's perspective, the Earth is absolutely screaming around it in orbit at 30 kilometers per second. And unlike what another meme would have you believe, it is not easy to just yeet stuff into the sun from Earth. Because of this orbital velocity, it would in fact be easier to yeet yourself outside of the solar system. So with our lion ball in orbit, we're going to have to cancel out all of this momentum and then let the sun take over. How could we do that? I don't know. We could slow the cat ball down by, attaching 5 million Falcon Heavy rockets from SpaceX based on the available surface area to the cat meat, shove it in there, and then thrust away for 20 hours until it slows all the way down? I mean, we could do something like that, but again, I don't know where we would get all these rockets. Although it does seem like an idea that Elon would be into. I mean, have you seen his tweets lately? We get it, dude. You like Reddit. Okay.
We've done all we can for this meme from space. The cats are clumped together loosely in a sphere in the void. Their momentum has stopped, and now all we have to do is wait. And that's because we can sit back and let the sun's immense gravitational influence facilitate this fight for us. But how long will it actually take before a trillion furry boys fight an eternal fusion reactor in the sky? Well, we could use some very fancy mathematics to figure out the exact amount of time we have to wait, or we could let my favorite scientifically accurate game do the math for us. The term meme doesn't mean what you think it might. It's a term that's been hijacked by Pepes and SpongeBob's and some drunk white lady yelling at a cat who's just trying to have dinner. The original term meme was coined by legendary evolutionary biologist and chronic Twitter foot in mouth user Richard Dawkins. He originally meant meme to be like genes for ideas and for culture. So think about how you think of a meme. How does it work? Well, someone comes up with a new SpongeBob frame that hasn't been used yet, slaps some white impact font with some so clever words on it, and then they release it into the culture. The culture then remixes and remixes this idea until the best version of it wins out and spreads to the most people. If you think about it, this is exactly analogous to evolution by natural selection, where some random mutation arising in a population is selected for or not via natural pressures. This is how we get the ideas that circulate through our population. If genes are an engine for evolution, then memes, as originally intended, are an engine for culture and society. We are still going to science the rest of this lion meme here. I just didn't want the term meme to be lost among Us memes or whatever. Are people still playing it? Because I'm sick of the Jelly Bean Man. He only has one bone in his spine. That's not how bodies work. Ooh, this book has pictures. And we have Matterbeam with a $5 donation who says, Kyle, why don't you stream Universe Sandbox 2 and let that physics simulator do the work for you? Well, that's a great idea, MB. In fact, it's almost like I wrote that comment myself. Universe Sandbox 2 is one of the best physics simulators you can buy. It uses accurate scientific calculations to model whole solar systems, planets, what would happen if you threw a black hole into the sun or crashed a teapot on Mars. You can do basically anything that you want. So I'm going to use Universe Sandbox 2 to create a ball of lion, basically water, that's at the same distance that Earth is from the sun, and then I'm going to slow its momentum all the way down to see just how long it takes for this fight to actually happen. So you can see I'm playing right here. Here's my cursor. I can zoom into or out of at my leisure. It's really robust in terms of a game. So that's Mercury. So let's go a little bit further out. We have Mars, which means Earth is right here. So what I want to do is I'm going to pause the simulation, and then I'm going to add an element to the simulation. Let's just say a random rocky planet. That random rocky planet is going to be about the radius of Earth, at the orbital radius of Earth, rather, and then I'm going to click on it. Let's start changing stuff about it. So it is no longer called Dithir. It will now be known as Lion Ball. Yes. Its mass, this is the critical part that we have to change. I'm going to change it kilograms. You can see just how much less our kilograms are going to be than something like Earth. So let's put in the 1.9 e to the 14 kilograms. Now we're going to change its density, and what you'll see is cool is that it will use that density to change the size of it for us, instead of calculating ourselves like dum-dums. So 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter, and it gives us the radius that we already calculated from before, which is awesome. So now we have our line ball at the correct mass, the correct density, radius, and now I'm going to put it, let's make sure, okay, so it's 1 AU from the sun, 1 astronomical unit from the sun. That's good. And we're gonna now bring the fight to fruition by reducing its orbital speed, as you can see, from about 30 kilometers per second, like we said, to 0. Now that has happened. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna close this out, and now we are gonna focus on Lion Ball. No, focus on Lion Ball. There we go. Okay. So what you'll notice is that once this gets going, Lion Ball will start heading towards the sun. So I'm keeping note of the date and time in the simulation, and now let's run it. Oh no! Lion Ball! No! And fight! So there we go. We had the fight of Lion Ball. Actually, we paused a little bit too late, so it now gravitationally slingshot itself around the sun, which is kind of cool, because we didn't set up everything perfectly, but I have the date and time here, so if we get technical about it, as we're wont to do, it looks like our fight with the sun, $500 quadrillion later, our Lion Ball encounters the sun after being slowed all the way down by all those rockets after 65 days. And you know what's the best part about that? That 65-day figure is exactly the same answer that we get with all of that fancy math that I did anyway, just to check our work. So now that we have a timeline, we need the results of what would actually happen here. Age Templar, thank you for the 10, says, Kyle, if you're live streaming this game, how is that possible if this is a pre-recorded video and banned? In a fight between 1 trillion lions and the sun is not going to fight fair. See, now the Earth, usually over the course of the year, doesn't change all that much in terms of distance, how far it is away from the sun. So, when it is this far away from the sun, 1 AU, it receives a certain amount of solar radiation. It's about 1,000 watts for every square meter at surface level after it goes through the atmosphere. If you were to change that distance, if you were to put Earth a lot closer to the sun, the intensity of the solar radiation must change because the solar radiation is coming from a perfectly spherical source. So if you put Earth closer to the sun, the power it's receiving per square meter is going to increase exponentially. For example, what if we put the Earth 50% closer to the sun? What would happen? Well, that's something that Universe Sandbox can help us with, so let's try it. So I have Earth brought up here. I'm going to edit Earth for its motion. So now, instead of being at roughly 1 AU, I'm going to, because it varies a little bit, I'm going to change this to 0.5 AU. You'll see what happens. So Earth is now a lot closer to the sun, as you can see, and the orbit is not going to be nearly circular anymore because I kind of moved it while the simulation was paused, and so the orbit's going to be weird, but the effect is going to be the same. Let's keep an eye on Earth, and let's keep an eye, more specifically, on Earth's surface temperature as we put it closer and closer to the sun. So let's look at the maximum temperature on the surface of the Earth right now. 20 degrees C, that's not so bad, but let's resume the simulation after having moved Earth that much closer. So it's starting to move around the sun in its new orbit. Oh, maximum temperature. Oh, okay, so that's... Okay, so, 76 degrees Celsius, that's okay. So now all of the oceans are boiling, and everything's on fire, and everything is dead. Now, I made this change to Earth's orbit to make this point. As our Lion Ball falls into the sun to try to fight it, as the meme states, the sun is going to start heating it up drastically as it approaches. So even before there is any fight, millions and millions of miles away, the Lion Ball is going to start taking the first punches in this bout. Okay, we have a $5 donation from Kevin who says, but what is my purpose? Wow. Cringe, bro. Oh.
As our lion ball moves closer and closer to the sun, it will be receiving exponentially more solar radiation. Well before anything fights anything, when the lion ball is still 3 million miles away, it will be receiving an equivalent amount of solar radiation that you would get if you were standing at ground zero of a nuclear detonation. As our lion ball moves towards the sun for this battle, its surface will be flashing away to plasma, and if it's not outright destroyed after 65 days, this happens. Wow, incredible. We just saw 1 trillion lions become additional fusion fuel. I think we can call it here. Oh hey, all the lions in the universe just went extinct, huh? I'm not, I know what it looks, I'm not a supervillain. I know what it looks like. I'm not.
Who wins in a fight between 1 trillion lions and the sun? Well, the sun. It's a star. I don't know what you really expected. Like, 1 trillion is a big number, but on a cosmic scale, it's minuscule. This volume of lion wouldn't even take up 100 trillionth of a volume of the sun, and the mass here is just not enough to throw any significant punches. I guess that's just another meme to be crushed under the weight of scientific scrutiny. That's just how your boy Kyle do.
I thought Kyle rides a BMX bike made from recycled Monster Energy drink cans while listening to Sum 41.
Now that's a meme that I wouldn't mind yeeting into the sun. Until next time. Can I get a Monster Energy drink in here? Don't tell them.
Now exiting the facility.
Thank you so much to the very nerdy staff at the facility for their direct and substantial support in the creation of this here video. Today especially, I want to recognize Research Assistant Hespera Smith and Visiting Scholar Jason Folkman. If you want to join the facility staff, if you want to join us on Discord and Patreon, where you can talk almost every day with me, give me episode suggestions, see episodes early, see members-only live streams, join D&D groups, magic groups, radio stations, all that, you can go to patreon.com/Kyle Hill and get your lab coat today. And if you support the facility just enough, you get your name on RA here each and every week. And as you can see, there's literally hundreds of you, so I have no idea how I'm gonna pass the here's a hot take. I do not like how online culture bleeds into IRL culture. Maybe I'm just sounding like an old man. I know I am a fellow kid, but if you do say like LOL and cringe, bro, as part of your IRL vocabulary, there's nothing that I dislike more. But science-wise, there's just not enough mass here. 1 trillion lions sounds like a lot, as we said, but in the cosmic scale of things, it's relatively nothing. To really influence the sun and what happens to it, you need something on an equivalent order of magnitude, another large star or something to siphon mass away from the sun, slowly draining it to death. How many lions would that be to make a star? A lion star. I think that's a different episode. Hey, thanks for watching. Oh, that was kind of cringe, wasn't it?